Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. Julian here for another waiver wire video. Now, Max did a fantastic job covering for me last week with the waiver wire and drops video. So thank you guys for continuing to tune in. Despite the change of host, Max has been great though. I'm very, very happy with this content. And you get me for the rest of the season now, guys. I had a very short trip to the USA, and now I'm back in Canada and ready to provide you with the best fantasy content for the rest of the NHL season. Guys, I'm going to make sure that you make the fantasy playoffs and win that fantasy hockey trophy. Before I jump into the content today, guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And do be sure to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description below. There's some pretty nice perks that I'm offering you guys, like the ability to chat with me one-on-one via message for just the lowest Patreon tier, which is just $3 Canadian or $2.50 US per month. Very, very, very cheap. And then there's the highest tier where you're able to actually have a video call with me one-on-one upon request every single month. And I help you set your lineup and make the best moves to the best of my abilities. Let's jump into the content now today, guys, and let's take a look at the schedule for Week 8. And on Monday, December 4th, there are 6 games. On Tuesday, there are 8. Wednesday, 4. Thursday, 13. Friday, 3. Saturday, 12. And Sunday, 8. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday are officially the off nights, but Tuesday and Sunday aren't too busy either, so you may have room for players in your lineup those days as well. Let's take a look here. Who has the best schedule? Well, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins and the St. Louis Blues. They play on all 3 off nights, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So their players are especially valuable this week, and you should be streaming them if you need players for those off nights. Obviously, if you can fit players every single night, you don't need to be streaming off-night players. But if your lineup is full on those busy nights, streaming players that play on the off nights is a really great strategy. Now, there are 6 other teams that play on 2 off nights. Carolina, Dallas, Tampa Bay, and Vegas play Monday and Wednesday, and then Edmonton and Florida play Wednesday and Friday. Now, there are 2 teams that kind of have a bad schedule this week, and those are Boston and Toronto, and the reason their schedule was bad is because they only play 2 games this week, and they're the only teams that play less than 3 games. Let's take a look at some forward options, and the first guy I have is Patrick Kane, who just signed with the Detroit Red Wings, and he is someone who's probably going to get top line and top power play time. It's going to be interesting to see how he looks after so long without playing hockey. But obviously, guys, Patrick Kane is one of the greatest players of all time and definitely should be someone that you add. Even if he disappoints and struggles heavily, he could be dropped later. But guys, Patrick Kane is definitely someone you want to be gambling on here. Pavel Buchnevich has a great schedule this week with the St. Louis Blues having those off nights. Plus, he's been so hot, so good on that top line and top power play with St. Louis, finally turning things around. It's nice to see Pavel Buchnevich going up in own percentage. You guys want to be grabbing him now. Brian Rust, same kind of thing, playing on that second line in Pittsburgh right now, as well as the top power play. He's been very good this year, has had a huge bounce back. It's really nice to see. Brian Rust needs to be added in more leagues. Boone Jenner is someone who's been phenomenal as of late, putting up points left and right, peripherals left and right, as he always does. He's someone that I love to rep here, guys. I know in the past his value has been limited because he's been just a natural center, but this year, for some reason, they gave him left wing eligibility, which is crazy. Brings up his value a lot. Guys, Boone Jenner is someone that you need to be adding right now. He's been Columbus's best player by a mile. Matt Duchene has been great as well, putting up points seemingly every single game. As long as he keeps that point streak up, guys, he's definitely someone you could be adding to your team. And the Dallas Stars do have a decent schedule this week with a couple of off nights. Robert Thomas, just like Pavel Buchnevich, guys, is playing on that top line, top power play, playing really well right now and is great for those off nights this week. Ryan O'Reilly is playing very well on a very, very, very hot Nashville team, playing top line and top power play with Philip Forsberg, and that's a great place to be. Ellie Tolvanen and Oliver Bjorkstrand have been excellent players all year for the Seattle Kraken, and we're going to do the Dr. Evil thing. They're on the 3rd line. Right now, that's behaving more like a first line for the Seattle Kraken. They've been phenomenal, and they're playing on different power plays, but Seattle kind of rolls both power plays pretty evenly. So the first power play is not really a first power play, and the second power play gets as much time as the first power play oftentimes. So both guys are guys that I like a lot and have been very consistent and very good this year. Riley Smith of the Pittsburgh Penguins, 44% roster. It's funny having him here because Riley Smith has been awful as of late. Really has not put up a point in quite a few games, but he's still playing on the second line in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh does have those off nights this week. So don't hesitate to grab Riley Smith if you do need someone for those off nights. He's probably going to turn things around. He's way too good of a player to stay this quiet. I wouldn't be too worried about grabbing him for the off nights. How do you spell phenomenal? P-E-R-F-E-T-T-I. Cole Perfetti has been so freaking good this season, playing on that second line as well as a top power play. He's been so hot, guys. Yes, he's no longer on that crazy point streak, but he's still pretty much putting a point every single game. He is a guy that I absolutely do not mind picking up. If you're in one of the deeper leagues that still don't have him owned, you absolutely need to add him to your roster. JJ Paterka is another guy who's been absolutely fantastic, playing second line, second power play for Buffalo, but is putting up points very frequently, and a guy who I like a lot this year. The next guy I like a lot is Sam Bennett, who has leapfrogged Carter Verhaeghe onto the top power play in Florida and is also playing on the second line with Matthew Tkachuk. That is a great place for him to be, and he finally broke out of his slump on Monday night where he scored a goal and an assist. He's someone that I like a lot, and he puts up some really nice peripherals to go along with it as well. Definitely should be way more than 17% owned. Gustav Nyquist of the Nashville Predators, 14% roster to someone who's on a crazy long point streak at this point, playing top line and top power play with Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg, and needs to be added in more leagues. He's looking great right now. Kevin Hayes is playing on the second line right now with Jordan Kyrou and Andrew Sad. That's a great place for him to be as well, and he's finally starting to put up the points as well. Next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Jake Neighbors. Santa baby, the season for a fresh cut is finally here. With the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming have just launched their 5th generation lawnmower to help you avoid another silent night in the bedroom this year. Take care of your special snowflake with Manscaped and watch your South Pole shine like never before. Get the best stocking stuffer of all by going to manscaped.com and using the code FANTASYTIPS for 20% off plus free shipping. Mrs. Claus will thank you. Once again, guys, that's 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIPS at manscaped.com. Say ho 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 to a well-groomed mistletoe with Manscaped. Now, why is Jake Neighbors my Manscaped must-add player of the video? Well, guys, he's got 6 points in his last 6 games, including 5 goals, and is currently playing on the top line with Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich. This dude is on fire right now, and on top of that, he's also got placed on that top power play, and on top of that, the Blues have an amazing off-night schedule this week. It's just such a good combination for you to be adding Jake Neighbors right now for the week, because he probably is going to do really, really well. Then we got Mike Hoffman of the San Jose Sharks, and in his last 7 games, he's got 7 points as well as 6 goals. He's on fire right now. Obviously, I'm not expecting that to last forever, but in his prime, Mike Hoffman was a pretty good player, always was a pretty natural goal scorer. So if he keeps getting top power play time and top line deployment, he's someone that definitely could continue to put up points. Now, in deep leagues, he's hot right now, so I definitely wouldn't hesitate to add him. Noel Acciari and Drew O'Connor are other guys that I would look at for the Pittsburgh Penguins because of the off-night schedule they have this week. If you're busy, if your lineup is full on those busy nights, these guys are guys that you definitely could be adding. Drew O'Connor is playing on the top line with Gensel and Crosby right now. And Noel Acciari, despite being a 4th-line center, is someone who puts up a decent amount of peripherals and also can put up points fairly frequently for a 4th-line center. Brandon Saad's the other guy I would look at playing on the second line with Kyrou. And he's someone who could put up points as well, and has been a little bit hotter as of late. Owned in only 1% of league means he's available in 99% of leagues. Definitely a great off-night ad. If you need defenseman, Shane Gostisbehere is the #1 guy I would be going to add here. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Finally, Detroit has figured out that power play, and he's back to being absolutely on fire. Like to see that, and Gostisbehere is definitely a must-add here. Zach Werenski, 57% rostered. The Blue Jackets do have him on their top power play, and he's been a lot better as of late. Neil Pionk putting up peripherals, putting up points. What I like to see. Torrey Krug back on the top power play and has been putting up a lot of points as of late. Finally, he's bounced back. He hasn't been this good for years now, I want to say. So it's really, really nice to see him doing well on that top power play in St. Louis. Matisse Ekholm has been putting up quite a bit of points lately. The Oilers seem to be bouncing back from their early season struggles, and Ekholm putting up points is definitely helping, and he's getting second power play time, and he's putting up decent enough peripherals as well to give himself a safe enough floor. Don't mind adding Ekholm here. Jared Spurgeon is someone who's now getting top power play time with the change of coach, and I think that might be great for him and great for the team. Spurgeon definitely needs to be added in a lot more leagues. Should be owned in closer to 50% of leagues, more than 15% of leagues. Pretty crazy that he's owned in so little leagues because he's a great defenseman and puts up some pretty good peripherals as well. Jeremy Lauzon is putting up some really nice peripherals, especially hits right now, and is actually putting up some points. That's not going to last, but the hits definitely can. Rasmus Ristolainen is someone who just came back from injury and is generally someone who puts up some pretty nice numbers for blocks and for hits. If he does keep doing that, he's definitely someone you can own in the categories leagues where you need those categories, or in a points league where you get a decent amount of points for hits and blocks. And then Kalen Addison and Kevin Korchinski are my last two defensemen. Both of them are top power play guys on their team. Neither of them are putting up a lot of peripherals, so they're kind of boom or bust here. If they put up a point on the power play, you're happy. If they don't, they're really not doing anything for you. But if you're desperate and you need defensemen who could potentially put up points, those are guys that can do it. Darcy Kemper of the Washington Capitals, 69% rostered, is somebody who has bounced back a little bit as of late. I think he's still a starter in Washington, and I think Washington and Kemper are going to start doing a lot better. I'm a big fan of Kemper. I think he's one of the best Canadian goalies there is, and I think he's had a rough start, but I think he's going to turn the ship around, much like Stuart Skinner has. He's playing a lot better as of right now as well, and someone who I don't mind adding for the very good Edmonton Oilers team. Jacob Markstrom, 62% rostered, is sick right now, I believe, but he should be playing once again for Calgary. They're probably going to be right in the ship as well. John Gibson has struggled a little bit as of late, but he's definitely the #1 goalie in Anaheim, starting the vast majority of the game. He's been very good this year. Struggled a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that. Gibson's a great goalie. Peter Kochetkov is getting about half the starts right now in Carolina, if not a little bit more than half. Him and Ranta are splitting pretty much 50-50, and they're both very good ads right now if you need a goalie in Carolina. Connor Ingram of the Arizona Coyotes is 37% rostered right now, is playing better than Vejmelka. Has now started 2 games in a row. He did get a shutout, so he might have a slight edge of getting a little bit more games than Vejmelka. But overall, I think it's still going to be a pretty even split, 50-50 between Ingram and Vejmelka for the starting games. Merzlikins, 33% roster, has been pretty good as of late as well. Blue Jackets have been a little bit better. He's going to get the vast majority of the games over there. Then Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, or 6K as I like to call him, has kind of taken over that starting position in Buffalo. With Comrie being sent to the AHL, UPL or 6K is kind of a must-add right now. I think he could still split starts with Eric Comrie, who's a decent goalie, but Luukkonen has definitely been better, and I think he's going to get the vast majority of the starts, and he's been really, really good. Kind of a must-add right now. Alex Lyon, someone who I like a lot right now as well, kind of seems to be creeping up on getting that starting position in Detroit. He's been much better than Husso and Reimer, and already seems to have passed Reimer on the depth chart in Detroit, which is pretty crazy, quite honestly. But he's been really great, and as long as he keeps playing well, guys, he's going to keep getting starts. So I'm monitoring that situation pretty closely because I like to see how it develops. And then finally, Kaapo Kahkonen of the San Jose Sharks is one of 2 goalies in San Jose where they split the starts pretty evenly. And honestly, Kahkonen hasn't been too bad as of late, so I don't absolutely hate the start, especially if you're in a deep league where you absolutely need points from goalies. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks so much, guys, for helping me hit 1 million views on this channel. Such an amazing achievement, and I'm so grateful for all you guys who helped me achieve it. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.